I'm taking off the glue off my lips. Helloes. I hope you are well. And this is me showing up. The message is loud and clear. Show up. Show up. Speak your truth. Don't put mine into it. Have fun. Just do it. So here I am. And I have been on a trip still since solstice, right? So thank you for those that came out to our group. You guys were the perfect soul, the perfect energy, you held the perfect frequency for this event to happen and for this beautiful galactic, intergalactic master meeting, solstice meeting that happened on the 21st. So, my goodness, I wish I could have a little timeline and read everything that happened, but I'm just going to express to you what comes up. And this video might be a little eclectic, because there is just so much I have to say. So, it started off with, I got a phone call from a friend of mine, Lisa, which is not even in our group. Lisa, I think, lives in Micronesia, and she messaged me and said, "Hey, Zaira, there's a group being created that is going to Shasta for solstice. Would you like for me to add you?" And I was like, "Of course, that sounds great." I felt really disconnected from everything for the past few months. Actually think I purposely disconnected myself from social media, from a lot of the outside noise so that I can go inwards, and it was all perfect, right? So when she messaged me through WhatsApp, I was like, of course, that sounds great. But then anxiety came in and goes, "Zaira, you just got a new job. Like, what are you thinking? Like, you can't afford to go stay in an Airbnb, let alone if they're charging for this event, because boy, do they charge to go up there, right?" So all these thoughts were coming in, and I'm like, why am I fighting this? But then the synchronicities were actually just me following those breadcrumbs, because no matter what, the divine creator has a better plan for me, right? And I am very blessed to be working with someone that has really helped me get in contact more and more with my divine creator, my God self. And I had a session with Cornelius not that long ago, and he said, I had asked him, how long do I have to look for this? How long do I feel like I have to chase this, chase this thing that I feel like a lot of people have, that I understand, that I feel, that I know. And he said, you don't have, it's going to be this lifetime. This is it. This is it for you. It's like, I don't have to come back and redo this thing, right? So that was a really good way to start myself before the event. So the first day, I think it was the 20th, we all met up at the headwaters of the Sacramento River. And it was really nice. Like, seeing you guys was like, ooh, this feels good, even though I didn't know anyone, I felt like I knew you guys. And the Yo Soy family is very special. We do have a different level of understanding about a lot of things, so that's really nice. And so we went from there to Bunny Flats and in Shasta, and boy, did we get a treat. So we show up and we set up a little altar. I was really happy that we did that as a group. And we have Luna toning us in, and then we have Susan channeling, a master from Telos, a Telosian. But none of this would have been possible if one of you was missing, right? Because it was almost like that perfect combination. It was like that math. If you can't do an equation without one thing missing, right? So I want to say thank you for being there, for letting me have this experience that is just the beginning stages of some greatness, you know? So that is forever so special and very heart opening. So, being in Shasta that day, my experience was, oh my gosh, we found the perfect spot. This is so perfect. This is so nice. And then things, as they evolve and they come forth, the sensation in my body was intense, like electrifying. Like if I had, I know our bodies are electromagnetic, and so that area, there was something extra at that moment. And also, I had been working a lot on my coherence healing. Coherent healing is like having my chakras coherent. And so my body does this funny movement. Anyways, it was out of control that day. And I'm saying this only because it was a form of activation that was happening. So the session started off by Susan saying that, Susan's Telosian being, how can I say this correctly? The channeling Susan brought in from this Telosian, Hilarion, I believe his name was, came in, and he is an ascended master from Telosian. From Telos. Oh, God. Oh, things, my mind, is trying to get the best of me right now. And putting too much thought into it. But anyway, so she brings this beautiful being in and is saying, thank you for coming. We have been waiting for you. And that is just like, okay. And he said, we gave you a DNA upgrade through your crown chakra in Egypt. And it just so happens to be that most of the people in the group were also with me in that same group in Egypt, in the pyramid, for the activation. And so no coincidence there, right? I didn't know, I don't think I knew anyone that came out to Shasta. So that was really nice. And he said, we have been waiting for you, and you were bringing that DNA upgrade here. You're anchoring it in for those that are to come to the mountain, or I understood it more of those that are awakening, right? Is this new activation that we got, and we're bringing it there to anchor it for those to come. And those to come can be the collective that's still working on awakening, or those that are going to show up to Shasta looking for that spiritual connection, or looking for that connection with themselves, right? So that was really nice. And then another thing he said was, have fun, enjoy this. And this is what I'm doing, because if you know me, I'm a chatterbox, and I do have fun talking and explaining things, and I get so excited. I'm an Aries, sun in Aries, moon in Pisces, and so Shasta really helps me ground myself because wow, sometimes I'm on fire, but I'm just in the cosmos on fire. But I need to be that bridge, where I can connect with that, but I'm also here. So that's something really special for me to come to understand lately. Okay, so this activation happened, and there's just so much to it that I can sit here for probably 5 hours trying to give you details and explain everything. But it the next day, oh, that same night, we go home and Guadalupe was with us in the house. Kristen, Serena, and Susan. Everything was perfect. We did a little house cleanse, and we practically set the intentions for our energies to be able to work with each other. I really believe that. My snuggle buddy was Susan, and thank you, Susan. So we do that, and we're like, okay, you know what? Let's go outside and enjoy the stars. And I was so excited to share with you my experience of seeing the spaceships, right? I live here in Orland, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit. So I'm upstairs in the balcony right now, but I live surrounded by orchards, and that's our, I don't know, about 15-20 acres of land. I have lots and lots of trees and lots of dogs. Ivy here. Anyways, lots of birds, lots of wildlife, right? So I have access to this beautiful sky at night, and it's been a couple years that I've been able to see them myself, and I was always questioning, like, why do I get to see them? What is the meaning behind that? And one day I will explain, I guess in another video, because this can take forever, but I was able to get that opening through this world through my dad, right? So I get to share this with my parents. I've been to Shasta, seen it myself. I'm here at home in the evening. It's almost like every night I get to see them. Ooh, there's some tingling in my head. And I know that before I set this up, I called in all the masters that are helping me currently, because they are holding space for me to get this going. As much as I wanted to fight it and say, oh, Zyra, it's just one of those things that you do. You're so excited and you're thinking too much into it or whatever, right? So the ego mind wants to sit me down and tell me to stop. But my higher self, is telling my ego mind, nope, go have a seat, let me be, okay? Because I am stepping into this new person. And I don't know what that's going to look like exactly, but I'm showing up for myself. This video is me showing up for myself. Yes, it's me giving you my perspective on this eventful solstice we had. But at the end of the day, it's me showing up, right? So anywho, I'm very blessed to be here and witness that. So I was so excited to go sit outside with you guys, because I don't have a community of friends that I can express myself with like this. I have it online, but I don't have them in person. So, it's like something I can talk about for hours and hours is everything to do with the ET world, right? The aliens, the spaceships. For some reason, I know way too much. And anyways, this just fascinates me. So I'm excited to go outside, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I brought cacao made from the land of Guatemala, by the lake Atitlan, by the indigenous Inca people. And it is made by the rituals. It's ceremonial cacao, but it's made very authentic to how they did it with their ancestors, right? So I was really excited to share that with you guys. And everyone got their cup. We went outside, and it was really nice, kind of like recapping the day. And right away, we were able to see tons of them in the sky, and that was really nice. But it didn't stop there. And this stuff gets me really excited, because there was something that I don't know Jesse. I didn't know Jesse before that, but through messaging before we got there, there's like something that I was like urgent to want to meet Jesse. And the fact that he didn't make it to the first Bunny Flats meetup, I was a little bummed. I was like, man, I really want to see Jesse. And I don't know, there's just something about him that I was really attracted to. But he did make a special appearance. It was more like 11 a.m., 11 p.m. at night. And he gets there, and, you know, we're trying to tell him a little bit about what we did. And he told us a little bit about how it was perfect for him that he was late and what that meant for him. And so we're sharing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, let me go get you. I asked him first. I was like, do you want a hot, do a cacao with us? We've all had it, but I would love to share some with you. So he said, wow, are you serious? He's like, someone just told me a couple days ago that this will really help me activate, I guess, work through something he's doing, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm just excited to share some goodness with him. So I give it to him. We sit outside and we're so into conversation that at that moment it was Serena, Susan, Jesse, and myself. And I said, oh my gosh, Jesse, we're so distracted. I haven't been able to, we haven't showed you that we can see all these spaceships passing by, coming into Shasta, going out of Shasta. There's like, we saw tons. I mean, together at the moment, we probably saw like 20 individually. But anyways, he's like, oh yeah, I see one. I see two. There's one in the bushes. And I go, oh my God, this is it. Like, and this is not me trying to be self-centered here, but at that moment I was like, oh, this is it. This is now. There's no more, me having that conversation every night in my house about why do I get to see you guys and I don't get to talk to you? Like, why do you show up? Why do you come down? You let me see you really clear, but you don't talk to me. But they did. They talked to me, to us, through Jesse. And hopefully I'm not overstepping some boundaries here, but Jesse was able to bring in this beautiful being from Syrian. A Syrian brother, I call him. A Syrian brother, because apparently I've been talking to the Syrian brother for a while. I'll tell you guys more about that later. But anyways, I'm just like, wow, okay. And then here comes this crazy, electrifying sensation in my body all over again. We hold hands as a group, 4 of us, and Jesse starts channeling this being. And he was aware of what we did at the mountain. He was coming in through Jesse for a reason, a personal reason, and then for us too, because he said, we're available, call on us, we'll come and help. You don't call on us, we can't intervene, which we know. But this message was so helpful. And I did ask him personal things, I was like, I asked him, what is all this body movement that I'm feeling? It's so new to me. I don't understand it. And he said, it's just my consciousness or my vibrations higher up, and my body is getting adjusted to it. So in the matter of time, it's just a matter of time where all that would work itself out, right? Of course, there's things I can do to help myself, and I will be working through that. So that was really nice. And that night, I'm like, are you kidding? Like, this can't be. This is just so I was so excited and more happy, but I was like, this is it. Anyways, so that was great. And I'm like, now we have to put ourselves to sleep after this eventful night. And the next day is even more intense. We get up, we go watch the sunrise. Thank you, Serena, for the idea. I think we slept like 2 hours. But at that moment, I think your body is like sustained by something else that it doesn't face you. It comes way later. But we go watch the sunrise. We have a perfect little breakfast together. We go and do our meditation together, and as a group with the Yo Soy family. That was really nice. And I think we all kind of went our separate ways. For some reason, I felt called to go into town and almost be the observer, but I was thanking all the people that were there for being the keepers of the mountain. And I was really tired by then. I'm like, man, do I get something to eat? Because I know we're gonna have this fire ceremony, and I don't want to be uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to eat too much. I don't want to eat too little. Anyways, I was like, let me just figure this out, and then I'll meet up with the group when the time is it comes closer to the time. So I went into town and I sat there for a while and come home, and at this moment I'm like, oh, do we have a little bit of time? I'm gonna lie down. But I went back into, like, I'm in bed, but my body is doing this whole thing, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not really resting. I'm too nervous about falling asleep before I get left behind or forget about this fire ceremony, because I decided to go into town instead of taking a break. Anyway, so it just so happens to be that Susan had left her keys in Mariana's car, someone's car. Oh my gosh, how can I forget? I'm skipping a big step here. So we did the meditation with the Yo Soy family, and then we went to go meet up with we met up with Peter shortly after that. And this is going to be a minute. So I came across Peter at the perfect time for this event. And this is how funny the synchronicity, this is how funny the synchronicities of the breadcrumbs are laid out for me, right? Or us. I found myself with a little extra time in my day. It gets really hot during the evening when I come home from work. So I'm like, what do I do with myself? Like, usually I'm either reading a book or really into someone's YouTube videos, or either I don't know. It's always like I'm always doing something. I don't really like watching TV, so that doesn't entertain me. I can't really go outside and exercise because it's so hot. So I was like, what can I have fun with? And I was like, you know what? Let's dive in. And this happened like for the month prior to solstice. I thought, okay, what will be fun and something I can do at my own pace and enjoy doing it, give me something to look forward to, was me tapping into my voice, right? That was a message that came in really often after Argentina, during the Argentina event, and then after. So I thought, okay, I hear these beautiful elders and these beautiful people I know or come across say this to me, and I don't believe it, but deep down I do. That there's something there in my voice, right? I did have experiences at the pyramid and at the dome in Argentina where something else was coming through at the time, and I didn't recognize it. So I was like, let me tap into that. Let me explore. Let me have fun with it. And soon enough, the information took me over to the Hathors in Egypt. And when I was in Egypt, I didn't go to Dendera, so I didn't have that experience. I was more connected to Isis at that time, and so I made sure that I went to Aswan, to her temple. So the Hathor's information comes in, and I'm like, wow, this is so cool. Like, how can I have missed it? And then from, how it goes, you go from one video, suddenly you're at another, and you're from one book to another. And so I watched someone that channels into Hathors, and this person, the Hathors are like the seven sisters kind of deal, seven different beings that came in through different, oh my God, I'm still trying to figure this out, but different aspects of Hathor, right? So that took me over to the information about Sanakumara. And so here I am diving in deep for Sanakumara's information, and it starts getting better, right? That takes me over to Sanakumara, takes me over to Saint Germain. And that's when I was like, okay, wait a moment. I can't handle this. What is happening? What is all this? Like this, now I'm waking up, like, I'm excited. I don't know what's going on, but what is happening? Like this is crazy. I just found something big, just like, just like this fire that comes in, and I'm just like, whoo, this girl is on fire. Anyway, so I'm just like, oh my God, this is crazy, because I have been on this, you call it like spiritual awakening path for like 12 years. But about 5-6 years ago, I had an experience where I was practically introduced to Saint Germain. At the moment, I didn't know it. It evolved. But I was living at home by myself after I separated. And one night, by 2-3 in the morning, I was taken into a ship. But before that happened, my room was covered in this violet color, right? This beautiful, bright color. Like the whole room was covered. And then the only thing I remember is coming back. And when I came back, it was like somebody slammed me back on the bed. And I was like, I just got off the roller coaster, right? And I was like, okay, this is it, Zara. You open your eyes, or you just try to go to sleep and not think about it and worry about waking up on time to go to work, right? But no, I was like, I gotta look at the time. So it's like 2:30, 3 in the morning, like 3 in the morning, and my body was in an adrenaline, like I had just been dropped off a plane into my bed or something. I just remember being dropped off, and time went by. I was actually at that time in a Buddhist school. I went to a Buddhist school, Vajrayana Buddhism, for 2 years. So I was really tapping into the meditation, and that was already working on getting rid of a lot of my anxiety and a lot of my depression. But it was also tapping me in, right? So it didn't take long before I found a picture of this violet color, and it looked like flames, violet flames color, and I kept it on my phone for years. And so at that moment when I first found that out, and I was like, wow, this color, and I saw another picture of the color, and it had a link to Saint Germain. And even though my parents had a property here for like 18 years, and I had been going to Shasta for the past few years, I didn't know anything about Saint Germain, okay? So I come across Saint Germain's information, and I told at the time, the leader in my group for this Buddhism school, and he had an ego that did not allow anything from, especially women, to have these experiences, or he just did not accept it. So I was shut down right away by him, and I thought to myself, what are you talking about, Zyra? Like, here comes the doubt, right? But luckily, I never stay quiet, and I expressed it to my best friend. I expressed it to whoever I can talk to about this. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. Who is Saint Germain? So I was able to, like, I guess you could say, research him for a little. And then eventually I come across some of Kelly Kalatny. So I was able to connect through Kelly to Saint Germain again. But Archangel Raphael, I was having these astral travel trips to Shasta way before I met Matthias. So I went from totally quitting the Buddhism school that I was in for other reasons. And I come across Matthias. I had come across Matthias a little bit more like 2016 or something, all his young videos, but I came across Matthias' new videos of where he had started to announce that he was going to do this 360-day meditations. And I thought, you know what, I really missed my meditation groups and the events that we did as a school, Buddhism school. So this will be great. This will be something that I can look forward to. And eventually I'm in Egypt, I'm in Argentina. Oh my God, I get to meet you guys, you beautiful people. And that was my initial experience with Saint Germain. But there's always that ego that doubts everything that comes through, right? So, life goes on. And when the Hathor information took me to Sanat Kumara, which is an Ascended Master, that then brought me over to another Ascended Master, Saint Germain, then I started to say, you know what, let me look into Saint Germain again. There's a reason why this is a full circle. So I went in and I started looking at information, and suddenly I come across Peter's work. And I've looked at a lot of stuff online. So when I see an elder gentleman holding this beautiful vibe and talking about Saint Germain, that he channels in, that Saint Germain has been working with him or through him. And these videos that I got to see were like 14 years old. So I was like, whoa, there's something here. And then I found Peter's email. He had a website. So I looked at his website and it looks a little outdated. So then I saw the email and I was like, I don't know why, but I feel like I emailed him. I said, hey, do you still have your Seven Ray Church? He calls it the Seven Ray Church, which doesn't fall short for what his house is, right? It's a temple of light. But I messaged him and he messaged me back. And he messaged me back right when I already had made the decision that I was going to Shasta for solstice with this group. And now I'm just like, oh my God, this is gonna be so good. But obviously, like, I don't know what everyone in the group is like. And I'm like, oh, Zyra, you're taking this too far. Because then I asked Peter, I said, Peter, I would love to meet you. I will be going to Shasta with the group, my Yo Soy family, and I kind of told them a little bit about who Yo Soy was and, the work with Matthias. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing too much. I'm going to try to meet Peter and be on my group event while I can't take time off work, right? So I'm like, oh my God, the anxiety and what am I doing? I'm taking it too far. So it was perfect. I got an email back and he said, I would love to meet you. I don't really do events. I do things a little bit more private. You're welcome to come to my house at Shastini. And I got that email back and I was like, oh, how can I pass this by? And I think I reached out to Jesse at that time and I said, Jesse, because he was coordinating. I said, Jesse, I told him a little bit about who Peter Mount Shasta was, and he said, wow, this is really cool. And I thought, oh, okay, so if I get the green light, then I have to reach back to Peter and see if he's okay with it, for us to bring 10 to 15 people to his house. And so I reached back to him. Now it's the 20th, and I'm like, okay, I did all this thing, and now Peter hasn't messaged me back. Okay, what is all this, right? So I left it alone, and it just so happens to be that after our meditation that night, I got a message from Peter saying, please let me know what time so I can arrange for chairs. And luckily, I'm in the group, right? We're all together at that moment. We're like, oh my God, let's go see Peter before we go on this hike to Fairy Falls. So I was really happy. Everybody was coordinating, which doesn't really happen with my family or friends. It's always I have to put up a fight with them about flow with me, please. Just let me be. But we go to Peter, and I'm in the car with Luna and her mom, and I take the wrong trip, and now I'm just like, oh my God, Zara, you put this together and you don't even know the man, and you send all these people to his house, and you're late. But it was perfect. It was beautiful. I think it was such a blessing I feel like we went and got his blessing in a therapy session at Peter's house before our event at the fire ceremony. So that was intense. So now we're back. That's when I went into town instead of going home to rest. I go home. I figure out I have a few minutes to rest before we had to head over to the lake. I think it was Lasiscu Lake that we were meeting up for our fire ceremony. Elena had set it up, and oh my God, did she do such a good job. Really lucky to have to even know people like you guys. Like Elena. Wow. She's a master. And so it just so happens that Susan had an issue with the keys. Now we're kind of stuck at home for a little longer. I had a chance to finally get some rest in after I was fighting it. Then we head over to the fire, and how can you not feel in a perfect space when you're surrounded by nature and people that get you, right? So we start off our ceremony with intention. Elena, she guided us through the process, and it was such a beautiful ritual. Like, we were creating this potion, love potion, right? So we start off with some mushrooms, and just a tad bit, just a bit. And that really, it wasn't like what people think it is. It was very different, very, very subtle. And we have Luna again tuning us. And the ceremony starts off very personal, very like we're letting go of things and what we want to bring in, and then just kind of became like a game, and it was really nice because these are things that I do on my own, but doing them as a group is just it amplifies everything, right? So here we are calling in the violet flame, and oh boy, was she present. Somehow I managed to stop for a minute and take pictures, and I captured it. And I'm like, thank you for holding space and clearing out. But as we know, the moment you heal, you're healing the collective. But when you're healing as a group, in a group, I'm sorry, we were creating the ripple effect that is like tsunami. It is extremely powerful. And I come home and you get to see that, right? Like, for some reason I started tapping into social media again, and like how everything is moving so fast, and when things are coming up and the disclosures are happening. Oh my God, that just right there tells you that we are so powerful individually once we tap into ourselves, but as a collective in a group, we are suddenly that night we became the masters. And the whole time I felt like I was coming home to something. And I don't know what that was until we're walking back to the car and I was like, this was my homecoming. It was your homecoming, but it was my homecoming. Like, my whole life just made perfect. Everything made sense. My whole life made sense. My childhood made sense. My location made sense. My troubles and tribulations made sense. My personality hopefully makes sense. But I left there going, wow, oh my gosh, you're not special, but holy cow, what came through, at least for the sensation, what I felt, that whole diving into that frequency that we shared at that moment was the portal itself. Like, we were in it. Like, it was like, sorry to say, but it was orgasmic. I was just like, holy moly, like, I'm on cloud 9. Okay. And then today, it so happens to be that Susan made a comment about this realization she had of how we were multi-dimensional beings going from one consciousness to another, and she talked about how we were driving home and she was acknowledging that, oh my gosh, we are these beings driving home. And it was a lot of fun, but I'm like, you know what, I'm behind the car, I know I'm not high, I know I'm not drunk, but there is something else driving this car. It was like I had to rip away. I didn't rip away, but it was like I thought I needed to rip away that higher self of mine to step back so that I can be in the third world. You know, I mean, a third world, the third density again, back to Earth, like, you know, as a human, as in the density that we live in, right? So I was just like, oh my gosh, we're on the freeway. How do I even know where to turn? Like, I don't have a GPS. I'm not playing anything. Oh my gosh, like, we were like, this is wild. Like, we were just in a different character at the fire. We became those ascended masters. They're saying, oh, Peter said, oh, it just so happens that today there's a meeting in Telos for solstice. We were it. We were that meeting. It was us. We were the masters. We stepped into our higher selves, which is the master. And then we had to take that home with us, right? So, that was a lot to process. And, you know, I come home and I want to reject my whole experience because it almost tells me, all right, the change is here. You got the instructions. You know what it's going to look like, and brace yourself, but you're stepping into this. And just like when I left the pyramid, I got a very similar message, which was like, okay, Ray, you're ready now. Speak your truth. And I was like, what? What is that going to look like? You know, you see a lot of people doing retreats and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, you know what? That just doesn't call for me. I don't know what this is going to look like. And I started off last year trying to make YouTube videos, but it just didn't, it just created a lot more, like, it's not easy. Whoever does this for a living, oh my God, you guys, this is intense. And it's a lot of inner battles of telling that ego, sit aside because I have a mission here to do. And anyway, so I come home and I'm just like, okay, I don't want to hear about this for a little bit. not only was I tired, it was like, I not only did I get to see spaceships with my friends, but I got to talk to a Syrian brother. And not only that, I met Peter Mount Shasta, who is channels, or who comes in, Saint Germain comes through him, and a lot of other masters. And I had just started tapping into that information. So I'm just like, woe to that, woe to that. And then woe to the fact that we became those ascended masters at the meeting, at the fire meeting for solstice. And so I am so thankful for Guadalupe, for Susan, for Jesse, for all of you guys, that I was able to express my thoughts to, and you guys have nothing but kind words to say back to me. And, you know, as you know, in the fire ceremony, I was working on letting go of that limited belief of myself, like believing in myself, and you know, the self-esteem and all that comes with it, right? And not being afraid to show up as me, speaking from my heart. And so I come home and I want to shut that out, because I still have to function. And then eventually that fades away and the excitement comes back in. It's coming in hot and it's out of control. So what happens is, you know, I'm really, really lucky to be in a space where I'm not surrounded by a lot of people. So I did a lot of meditating. I went in a lot, and I have a really supportive group that I meditate with a few times a week. And Cornelius for me has been such a tool. I say tool only because at the end of the day, it's me always, right? So he's just reflecting something I needed to hear or see through him. But Cornelius wrote a book called The One. I'm gonna take a picture and send it to you guys. But I read his book, and of course, the things like that are always activating. But I've done the sessions with him since November, late December, November, I can't remember. But they have really allowed me to clear away a lot of space and tune in to that higher self, that priestess self that Susan sees, that I feel, but I don't see her yet. I'm starting to, okay? I know she's showing up right now through this video. And so really lucky with that. He's pure consciousness, so I'm able to talk to him, and he taps into the collective consciousness that I need at the moment. He brings in a lot of the masters himself, and I felt like Buddha was talking to me a lot prior to that, and Jesus, Saint Germain, and oh my God, I hope I'm not missing some of the masters, but I have a lot of them in my field that I'm able to talk to or tap into, I guess. Anyway, so most recently I got to talking to Jesse, and he tells me that he had a beautiful experience, and I don't want to overstep my boundaries with him, but he brought something to me at that moment that I was like, wow, Jesse, like I had similar experience with that. And so he shared that with me, and as much as I want to share everything with you guys, I think I'm going to let that be him. But Guadalupe reached out to me and said, Zaira, like, do you mind going with me? I want to go to Shasta again, and I want to go see Peter. And I'm like, I'm not going to miss a chance. Like, I need to talk to him. You know, I would love to talk to him, even if it's just to be in his presence, to be able to help me forward in this process. I was like, I'm down, let's do it. And so we drove up to Shasta. Peter wasn't home, and it was perfect because Lupe and I were vibing really good together, and we're just flowing, going with our intuition, and we ended up back again trying to get ourselves to Panther Meadows, but we went to Bunny Flats, and we see tons of cars in the parking lot. I'm like, what is going on? And then like people are putting up tents, and we're like, what is going on? So I tell, I'm a nosy girl, a chatterbox, and I go up to a group. I'm like, what do you guys have going on? A family reunion? Like, is this a fair we're not invited to? What is going on? And they're like, oh, there's we're doing a salmon run. So we come in. This is the indigenous people from Shasta that do a ceremony by the water, by the river, to be able to start their salmon season. And oh my goodness. So when things are divinely guided, I think I was very lucky that I had Guadalupe being a news anchor herself, and myself, that I'm not shy to talk to someone. We were able to talk to they didn't let us at first. They were very reluctant to letting us know who she was and where she was, but we talked to the leader of the tribe, and Guadalupe and I were like, we're onto something here. And I'm telling her my experience of the night before I had with Jesse, where it was just like very much synchronistic, and then showing up to Shasta looking for Peter, but Peter not being home, but then going to meet up with this tribe and come to understand that my job, everything that I've learned so far, was because I was going to come in and use those skills of mine to kind of cover this tribe and everyone there at the moment in this light, and be able to come in and I think I'm getting you guys a little mixed up, but she was very reluctant. Finally, she meets with us, and she has she's guarded, okay? She doesn't like the fact that people are coming to do retreats at Shasta. She feels that we are killing nature, that bunnies are not coming around, the deer are not coming around, and that people are doing bad rituals and leaving their ashes in the river, or cremations, and all this stuff, right? And I told her, I said, oh my gosh, I understand. Wow, that's another way of looking at it. Like, I didn't realize it. And then I told her a little bit about how I was called to the mountain. Like, it wasn't like I'm going to go there and just hike around and be a mess and hurt Mother Nature, because she works with me, right? So, she's at this moment, I think I got her a little bit more fired up, and Guadalupe is like, just telling her how amazing and how happy she is to meet her, that it's so special that we come across her, because now we understand that we need to bring some awareness to that, right? So this lady I tell her, I said, look, I came here, and we came with our group to meet up with Peter, Mount Shasta. He works with Saint Germain. Well, I shouldn't have said that, because then she starts saying, yes, you guys, you I-amers, you Saint Germainers, you rainbow kids, all you guys are just hurting her, not respecting her, and now the park rangers are not listening to us, and people are not even following the rules, and if the gate is there, they don't respect it. Anyways, I was starting to feel like that pressure, like, oh yeah, this does not feel good. I went in and I tried to neutralize the conversation so that we didn't leave a bad taste in her mouth. And they were calling her in. They're like, okay, we're going to start the ceremony now. They were going to do a dinner. So they're waiting for her to start the prayer. And Guadalupe and I are stepping away, and we go, oh my gosh. And I just wanted to cry. Like, I was just like, you know what, Lupe, if you don't mind, like, give me a minute. I'm going to go sit at the mountain at the same place we sat at. And I'm just going to go thank her and have a moment with myself, right? Because it was just a lot. And Lupe was really kind. She was like, you know what? I'm going to go do what I like to do when I come here. So we'll just meet up again after. So I sit there, and she captured the moment. I don't like looking at pictures necessarily myself, but this is a really nice picture. And I'm in, and I'm bringing in so many masters, and I'm like, here it is. This is it. This is what I need to work on. This is what I needed to come and do. So, we're going to bring in that violet flame and neutralize and cover them in a beautiful light and just send them love, right? So I'm sitting few feet away from the family or the tribe ceremony, and I'm by myself at the spot, all by myself. And then I feel this bee just zooming all around me, and I go, well, she's not gonna bite me. This is something else. And for the first time, did I have the experience of connecting to source clearly at that moment. It was the aha moment. And that was just beautiful on its own. And then Guadalupe comes over and she goes, hey, there's a bee around you for a while, zooming all around you in circles. And I was like, oh, I heard that. And then she goes, Zaira, I think I really, really believe that we need to go back and talk to her. I want to tell her that I want to interview her for my for my radio show. And I go, that sounds like a great idea. Only thing is, I felt a lot of guard was still there from her. But then again, goes back to Zaira, what you just did is you brought in some light, you neutralized the space, and you opened up, you're practically knocking on her heart and everyone's heart there and going, hey, here I am, here we are, what are we trying to do? How can we work together, right? You have your perspective, I have mine, and in some parts, I have a lot to say about that because I feel like she needs to learn to kind of evolve with what's happening, because she's in a way a little bit in denial about the mass awakening, and people are coming to Shasta from all over the world, not trying to hurt her. We're all hearing the call, right? So I said, Lupe, why don't you go, and then I'll stick around so that she doesn't feel, that it's just we're invading her space again, right? So we go looking for her. I'm like, okay, have you guys seen the lady with the long hair, the braid? And, it's like I'm explaining what she looks like to everyone that looks like her. So that was kind of funny. But I recognized her daughter, and I was like, where's her mom? And they're like, oh, she's by the truck. We were so lucky, okay? She was getting this old chest out of her truck, like vintage chest she must have had all kinds of powerful stuff in there. She was getting this thing out of her truck with, I don't know if it was her son. There was a gentleman and a lady standing by her. So I'm like, what a perfect moment. So Lupe goes in. I'm kind of like sticking around, playing it off a little bit. And I had met a kid at the mountain that with his parents, little Asian boy, super cute, that asked us to take a picture. And so I come in and I hear Guadalupe talking to her, and I go, oh my God, guess what, guys? This little kid is here from Los Angeles with his parents. They went to Oregon, but because of him, his parents came to Shasta to take a picture with him, right? What coincidence. So I kind of let her know, like, hey, this little kid doesn't have bad intentions, just like I didn't have bad intentions. So here he is, bringing his parents from Southern California to tap into what's here for all of us, right? Anyway, so I can feel that her ego really liked the idea of, oh my gosh, you're so important. We need to interview you. We can amplify your voice. We would love to invite you to the elders meetup in Peru. And she's like, well, this is when we do our event. We thought, well, maybe you can send us someone that represents you and your tribe to this event, but it will bring your voice to get amplified. This is what people are reaching for. We need, and she said, okay, well, here's my contact information. So we got through to her. I'm going to show you guys this because it's starting to blind me a little. Look at that. Would you look at that? Yep. Anyways, wow, this video is long. Sorry. It was like 2-3 parts to it and I couldn't help it. So long story short, we made contact with her while Lupe and I leave, and we're like, wow, we were on our way to Shasta and we were talking about this, right? Then I come home and I'm like, I'm exhausted. I'm physically exhausted, lethargic. I'm like, okay, I know I need some time to myself, and I'm doing the bare minimum and I'm sleeping a lot. But I'm getting this nudge is that I have to show up and I got to speak on this, and I got to bring forth what I believe. I really believe that what we created is something that is in our near future I mean, this is something that we're stepping into either as a group here or eventually all of us, we're gonna just go out on our path or something. But it's not a coincidence that we're pretty, I would say, individually and in the group, we're pretty awake to a certain extent to know that we are just as important as a master that has passed away, you know, like Jesus or Buddha, that we no longer have to go to the Himalayas or any of that. We have it here and it's available to us now. I know that I can tap into pure consciousness just like I have been doing for the past 6 months. And I wouldn't have believed it if Susan didn't confirm it for me when she opened up my Akash record. And it was like, I knew it. I knew it. I known it. But it was really such a useful tool to have that available. So what I'm trying to figure out is, how are we going to, as a group, come together and continue to work this potion, right? Work this violet flame. How are we going to continue to create those ripple effects that are changing the world? And you know, if I can change it by myself, in a group, it's monumental. It's we're going to get there faster than we thought. Okay. So, you know, everyone is gifted in a certain unique way that it's almost like that potion, right? Anything in that potion is mathematically put together. And so what I bring forth is just me, myself. I'm trying to bring in my higher self and use all those Akash records that need to come forth right now to work for something greater, right? Something greater. And it's not us making retreats, charging thousands of dollars for people to show up and teach them this. It's us doing it together as a group and teaching others. Okay? So this is like the group of the essence, that where Jesus went, and he went to go for a long time to go get teachings, right? So it's like we're bringing that back. So to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. We want to live a better life with the planet. We want to be in tune with her. Who was in tune with her before was all these other civilizations, but the nearest civilization is our civilization. And who was in tune with Mother Earth was our tribal people, our Incas, our Mayans, our, all these, the ones in Shasta, right? So these are people that commune with Earth. They're not separate from her. And I'm like, this is a pot of gold. We hit it. We're bringing in the ancient teachings, okay, from our Akash records. We're bringing in, with the people that we have available right now, the teachings from the ancestors that have still been kept sacred through their tribal groups. And here we are, the bridge. We are the bridge to bring this forth to humanity, to Earth. And yes, it starts individually, but I think we already tapped into that. And me putting this video together is really tapping into my higher self, right? And stepping into that character, that multi-dimensional character that drove home after the fire ceremony, right? So please let me know what you think. And this is us co-creating. So how are we going to co-create? How can we make this possible? Yes, our schedules are pretty busy. We can't meet up every full moon, and that's always a hope that happens. And how can we do this together? Like, how can we figure this out? If it's one day 3 people, the next day it's 10, maybe another day is only 2, but we're showing up, right? So how can we do this? Yeah, so let me know what you think, and let's get this going. I am so happy, and I'm not gonna say sorry for the video because it's all over the place, like I said, but thank you, and let this fire, let the ashes come to you. Okay, we'll talk soon. Bye.